Pressing it. Shalom, Malak, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shabrakatah, brother. All right, this is Romans 8, 8 and 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that's scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwaf that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Omawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, be led by the spirit, not by the flesh. All right, and this is concerning the Rice Krispy treat, all right, and the inspiration comes from this video that was sent to me. All right, and basically in the video, before I play it, what's going on in the video is they say a key thing where it says that they want everybody to be led, and they were speaking about, you know, basically in the future, you see, and that's what's going on with Esau. Esau wants you to be led by his technology. He wants you to be led by his ways, his mentality, his system, his beast system, you see, and you being led by his ways, all right, is you being led by the flesh, you see, because everything that this devil does, all right, is a carnal result, is a carnal way of thinking, you see, but we put our full trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which means to what? To be led by the spirit, okay? And that's why I read Romans 8 and 5. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, all right? So when the time comes, all right, that the MOTB is put out there to be made mandatory, all right, those that are of the flesh are just going to walk right into it, you see? They're going to do it with no problem because they're already living in the mentality of sin, okay? As a matter of fact, Romans 8 and 5 in the NLT says, those who are dominated by the sinful nature think about sinful things, you see? And we already know that that is a sinful thing to put this Rice Krispy treat into your body, you see? And they're going to be dominated because they're going to be going to Esau for the want of all things, you see? So that's a curse that's upon our people. So in the time of the hour of temptation, all right, Esau's going to try to force you, all right, to go to the enemy, all right, for the want of all things. This is Deuteronomy 28. And let's grab it from, give me 1 second, let me find it. Hold on real quick. This is 48. And it says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. You see, and the time is coming, all right, which we're already serving our enemies in captivity. All right, but see, now this devil wants to take it as far because he's just not satisfied with the fatness of the earth. He's not satisfied with blood. All right, but he wants you to serve to the point where you're not no longer serving your creator, but you serve your enemy by worshiping him. You see, it says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee. Okay, and the Lord always puts us into the hand of our enemies, right? When we continually go off through the spirit You know, when we continually worship these other gods, all right, and our people, okay, they worship America. They worship the ways and the image that's always being portrayed here in America. Okay, so we're gonna eventually fall into our enemies again. Even though we're already in captivity, we're gonna fall into a digital captivity. All right, we're gonna finally fall into our serving our enemies on the mindset, on the mind. All right, they do it already by following the image, but see, once they bring this MOTB out and make it mandatory, you see, now you have given up your mind, you have given up your soul and your spirit. You know, that's what it basically is. They want you to sell your soul to them, you see, without you even trying to make it into a celebrity status, without you trying to make it into a certain type of business. They're going to have you sell your soul to them just for the want of, you know, food, for the want of, you know, just to have a drink. Okay, just to want to go back into the ways of society the way it used to be. Okay, just for you to be a partaker in their new world order. You see, because our people don't have a kingdom mindset, man. They just want to stay stuck here. They stuck here with that Stockholm syndrome. You see, they have constantly, you know, bowed down to their oppressor to the point where, you know, whatever their oppressor says, all right, they're going to be down with it. Okay. So it says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. All right. And the Lord told us that the Lord is our shepherd, right? Yahweh is our shepherd. We shall not want. Okay. There's nothing that we should want because we have everything you need. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You have this faith that was given to you. You see, you have this truth that has been preached over and over to you. Okay. But our people are hard-headed, they knuckleheads, right? And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. And eventually that ended up happening. You know, we were put into shackles and, you know, our hands, our feet, all right, to the point where they took off the shackles and the chains, okay? Now they mentally enslaved us. But now, after being brainwashed and mentally enslaved, right, with the image of this place, now they're going to literally put that, they want your whole body, you see? They're going to take your whole entire soul and be able to control it. All right, which, you know, they really don't own your soul. The Lord is the Father of all spirits. All right, but it's a figure of speech, man, that they have total control of you, you see, because you're going to bow down to them. All right, and show the Lord that that's your God, that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not your God. Okay, so it says until they have destroyed thee. Okay, so let's go back to Romans 8:5. It says, for they that are after the flesh, do mind the things of the flesh. All right, as a matter of fact, let me grab from NLT. Those who are dominated by the sinful nature think about sinful things. All right, and this place is about pleasure. And everything here that is pleasurable, all right, is complete sin to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, that's why the Lord said it's better for you to suffer with the children of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai than to have pleasures of sin that last for a season. Okay, because these pleasures of sin is only going to last for a matter of time, but eventually what will come to you? Death, you see. All right, this is Psalms and Shalom Malak Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Okay, this is 2 Thessalonians 2:4, and it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Yahweh, all right, God, or that is worshipped. You see, he wants you to worship him, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God. And how is he going to sit in the temple of God? All right, with this Rice Krispy treat, because we are the temple of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So by us taking on this image, all right, he is able to sit in the temple of the Lord. Okay, and it says, Salakia, above all that is called God, all right, or that is worship, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, okay, showing himself that he is power, so he could throw it in the Lord's face, okay. This is Psalms 14:1. It says, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominated works. There is none that doeth good. All right. And this devil, all right, constantly says that there's no God because he wants to think that he's the Lord. That's why he tries to rewrite everything that the Lord already wrote. You see? So, you know, Yahweh's not in his thoughts. Okay. because he believes in his science. He believes in his technology. Okay. And the Lord created him to be that way. You see, this is Psalms 10:4, and it says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all his thoughts. All right. Beautiful. So we understand that this devil's not going to be able to change his ways, right? He's just going to continually keep going after that flesh. You see, because he's a fleshly man. All right. So those that are of the flesh that follow after this devil, right? What did the scripture say in John 8:44? It says, ye are of your father the devil. You see, the Lord was talking to our people. Because why are they of the father the devil? Because they live in the flesh. They live in fleshly and carnal ways, man. Okay. It says, and the lust of your father you will do. You see? So those that are of the flesh are going to mind the things of the flesh, right? He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, you see? And because there is no truth in him, when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. And that's the truth, man. Right here it is that the Lord tells you constantly through the scriptures, man, what this devil's about, not to trust thine enemy, all right, who you are, and you don't believe it. You believe all the nonsense that's been put out, all right, through philosophy, all right, through Hamashiach. These people are anti-Christ, man. All right, they're totally against the word of the Lord, contrary to him, right? So going back to 8:5 in Romans, it says, those who are dominated by the sinful nature think about sinful things, but those who are controlled by the Holy Spirit think about things that please the Spirit. You see, and ultimately, all right, you want the Lord to save you in the hour of temptation, right? You want him to keep you away from the hour of temptation. So you are going to be controlled through the Spirit. But see, Esau is going to have you controlled through his device, okay? And he's going to have you controlled in the manner of sin, okay? Where he's able to do whatever he wants and pleases, all right, with your mind, okay? And eventually you're going to end up what? You're going to be disconnected from your power, okay? The Lord is not going to allow you to repent, okay, off of you taking this MOTB. Once you take that MOTB, you have showed the Lord that that is not your power. You see, that you believe in Esau, all right? And that's what's going to be your total confusion, all right? Which I'll get that in a second. Let me finish 6. For to be carnal minded is death, but the spiritual minded is life and peace, you see? So let me grab that in the NLT. It says, so letting your sinful nature control your mind leads to death. So who's the sinful nature, man? Who's the border of wickedness? Esau, all right? And he's going to control your mind, which leads to what? To death, okay? But letting the Spirit control your mind leads you to life and peace, all right? So here it is. You have the spiritual mark of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah, which is the Dawah, right? And they for you to be able to have that exempt from judgment, all right? That mark that makes you exempt from judgment. But here it is. You have a carnal mark, all right, which is of Esau, okay? And Esau wants to control your mind, which is going to lead you to your own death, because he knows that he's death. So his job here on earth is to try to grab as many Israelites as he can, all right, since he knows that he has but a short time to make you go off in front of your maker, man. You see, because every time we go off, he literally spits in the Lord's face saying, look, ha ha, this is how I got your people, you see? So that's heavy that he comes with that mentality, man. It says, so then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see? Why? Because they have no faith. Without faith, it is impossible to please Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Now, let me grab this video, and I'll grab some more precepts, all right? Showing you that they want you to be led through the flesh, okay? If you can receive it in the video. 1 second.
Hi. Shut your eyes. Golden. Just like you always wanted. You're not jealous, are you? I'm so sorry. You're right. It is the most incredible feeling looking this way.
So look, see, so right off the rip, she was already saying that she felt of the most incredible way to feel this way. This is the image, You see, she's showing her an image and wants her to be like that image already. Okay, which I don't know what movie this is. All right, but you know, wifey sent me the video, and you know, through the spirit, I already perceived how they were going at it. All right, it says they're forced to get plastic surgery when they come of age. All right, and this is what they're trying to do, you know, with the female at the time. All right, but remember, look at these things through the spirit. All right, this plastic surgery is an image. Okay, so she wants her to take on that image that she's perceiving that is a good image. She feels great in it. All right. Remember, this devil, when he comes to present this MOTB, he's going to present it as convenience, as an image that is beautiful to have. Wow. Look, you're going to be able to have this. You're going to be able to have that. All right. As a matter of fact, that reminds me of this precept real quick before I forget. This is Matthew 4. All right. And I'll just get straight to the point. Okay. 8, it says, again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy power, for him only shalt thou serve. You see? So they're coming at her, all right, in that manner of like, here, take this image. Look, you can have all the things you want. You see? This is how Esau gonna come at us, okay? Showing us that we can have all these different types of glories, right? If we would just fall down and worship him, right, by taking this MOTB, by taking in this mark that he wants you so desperately to have, okay? So it says, you know, thou shalt worship the Lord Yahushua thy power, and him only shalt thou serve. All right. And this devil wants you to serve him. Okay. He wants you to serve the creature more than the creator, like it tells you in Romans, the 1st chapter. You see? So that's going completely off. Okay. So let's go back to that video.
Tally, shut your eyes. Golden, just like you always wanted. You're not jealous, are you? I'm so sorry. You're right. It is the most incredible feeling looking this way.
She is breathtaking, isn't she? You have a choice to make. I suggest you choose surgery.
All right, I'm going.
Free thinking is a cancer, Tally. Leave people to choose for themselves, and they'll destroy the world. Humanity needs to be led.
See, humanity needs to be led. Let's put that back a little bit.
All right, I'm going.
Free, isn't she? You have a choice to make.
You have a choice to make, and that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a choice that's going to have to be made, all right? Which ultimately, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is what leads your steps, all right? But see, when you are led by the Spirit, the Lord leads you in a spiritual manner. He leads you in a righteous manner. If you're led by your flesh and your sinful ways, that's why the Lord is going to line you up for that MOTB, you see? So the choice is coming, all right, that you're going to have to either serve Yahushua or you're going to have to serve Esau. Which one do you choose, okay?
Best you choose surgery.
All right, I'm going.
And she said, I suggest you do surgery. Even though they talking about plastic surgery and all that shit, the first thing I thought was surgery through the MOTB, all right? Because that's going to be a surgical thing that's done onto you, all right? Whether it be, you know, them putting it in your forehead or them putting it in your right hand, all right? It's still going to be a surgical thing that's made, a surgical decision, okay?
Free thinking is a cancer, Tally. Leave people to choose for
Free-thinking is what she said?
themselves. Free thinking is a cancer.
Free thinking is a cancer, okay? And remember, you see, this is why they don't want you to think in the manner of the spirit, all right? Because when you think in the spirit, all right, the scriptures say, when you shall know the truth shall set you free, you see? So now you're free thinking through the spirit, okay? So the Lord, all right, I mean, Esau doesn't like when you think like that. That's why it becomes a cancer. That's why to them, we're a cancer here on earth. This is why they want to take us out of the way. Because see, this word is spreading. It's spreading everywhere, and it's opening up the minds of the elect. Okay. And the one thing they don't want you to do is to attempt to grow a brain here. Okay.
Leave people to choose for themselves.
See, Esau wants to put you in this predicament. Leave people to choose for themselves. They don't want you to be led by the spirit. You see, when you are led by the flesh, you tend to think for you tend to choose to think for yourself. Okay, instead of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's ways, think for you. You see, that's why it's important to have this word, because knowledge and wisdom is going to be what? The stability of thy times. Okay.
And they'll destroy the world.
All right. So she said, free thinking is a cancer. Leave people to choose for themselves. And they'll destroy the world. Exactly. Because you thinking in the flesh. All right. Now you're thinking like Esau. And what does Esau constantly do? He destroys everything that he touches. Okay. He was created to what? To take peace from the earth, to destroy everything that comes into his sight. Okay. Because he's destroyed himself. He destroyed himself when he had given up his birthright. All right. To Jacob. You see? So now all this devil can do is think about, how can I destroy, all right, the Israelite man, the one that's of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You see?
World. Humanity needs to be led.
So humanity needs to be led, and there are those of us who are fitted to lead. You see? So they want everybody to be led in their sinful ways, in their system, in their image. Okay, and only certain people are going to be led in that spirit. I mean, not even certain people, most people. All right, because most people want Esau to control them, man, because they're in love with the devices of this world, with the pleasures of this world. Okay, with the things that Esau has to offer. You see, the Lord said, hate the evil and love the good. Okay. But these people, remember, this place is backwards, as it tells you in Isaiah 5:20. All right. Bitter is sweet. Sweet is bitter. Okay. These things are backwards. So these people think, all right, the bitterness of these things. All right. I love it. Okay. But to be good and righteous, that's a boring thing. They don't want nothing to do with that. You see?
Who are fit to lead. People are so much happier this way.
People are so much happier this way. And you'll be happier this way. You see, this is exactly the image that this devil wants you to follow in society, man. You follow their way, you'll be much happier. What did Klaus Schwab say, man? He said, you will own nothing and be happy. You see, it's all through the spirit. Okay, let's play that again.
Free thinking is a cancer, Tally. Leave people to choose for themselves, and they'll destroy the world. Humanity needs to be led, and there are those of us who are fit to lead. People are so much happier this way. You'll be happier this way.
But I won't be me.
No, but you sure will be pretty.
And that's pretty much how it ends. All right. But like I said, even though they're talking about plastic surgery, you got to read it through the spirit. Remember, this devil, everything that he puts in movies, all right, has an actual message, all right, that is prophetic, that is spiritual, that is about the scriptures. Okay. They get all these different films and all these different shows and all these different types of movies that they create through the scriptures, man. You know, this is how they know how to control us, because they know the truth and they know these scriptures, and they realize that, okay, well, if we can feed them a sinful nature, right, the Lord is going to be pissed with his own people. And every time he's pissed with his people, what does he do? He gives them to the hands of the enemy. You see? So that's why they want to continually keep you, all right, in a sinful nature, because to them, their houses will continue forever as long as they keep you in a sinful nature. Okay. But see, it was already prophesied that there was bounds that he couldn't pass. So the Lord let him do what he do for so long, but now he has a limit, and that limit is up. Okay. Now that's why the Lord has raised up the elect, all right, to be able to stand against the workers of iniquity, all right, to stand up against the evildoers, all right, and we have become what? Contrary unto his doings. Esau's doings, right? Just like it tells you. Let me grab that real quick and Slakia and Wisdom of Solomon, the second chapter, right? Verse 12. It says, therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not of our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy the transgressions of our education. He professes to have knowledge of Yahweh, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord Yahweh Shai. He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us, even to behold, for his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion, you see, because we're no longer living in that image that Esau has made us to live in constantly. You know, all these days that when we were being wicked, all right, we were living in this devil's image, all right, and eventually if we would have kept living in that image and ignore the word of the Lord, all right, we will fall into this new image. See, what happens is that Esau always has to come with a new image, because that image becomes old after a while. It gets played out. So there always has to be a new way, a new image. That's why, therefore, there's going to be a new world order, because the old world order don't work no more. People have caught on to the to what's going on. But now he has to find another way to deceive. He has to find another way to, bring us and draw us in. Okay. And this is what the technology is about. All right. The means of those miracles. All right. These different technologies is this is why they have to bring this digital world, this fourth industrial revolution, because that was the bait. All right. To catch you into his net. Okay. Oh shit. Look at this shit. This is new. All right. Everything is digital. Everything is computerized. All right. As a matter of fact, let me grab that real quick. This is Habakkuk. Habakkuk 1:15, right? It says they take up all of them with the angle, they catch them in their net and gather them in their drag, therefore they rejoice and are glad. You see, so this whole thing is like they're fishing. You see, the same way we're fishing for the elect, all right, to turn back to the Lord. They're constantly fishing, all right, to see who they can lure into their net, all right, into their new ways, all right, into their sinful natures. You see, so they put bait on the hook, all right. They chill there. He's a cunning hunter, so he has patience. He'll sit there and wait for you to fall into one of his traps. Once he sees that you fall into those traps, okay, he knows he could catch many others with that same exact trap. You see, so they'll sit there and they'll wait and gather them in their drag. All right, if you know anything about fishing, you know that's how it is. You throw your bait, you wait patiently, all right, and then little by little you're able to gather them and pull them in. All right, and once you snag them, right? Once you snag this the fish that you're looking for, you're able to what? Control him in the manner that you want him to be controlled, till you eventually tire him out. You see? So let's grab not Proverbs, Psalms 10, and I think it's 7 or 6. All right. 9. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. So he does catch the poor when he draw him into his net. He croucheth and humble himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. You see, he has said in his heart, Yahweh has forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. You see, and that's the thing that the Lord, they have in their mentality, of course, if you continue to have them in that sinful nature, that the Lord is going to always forget about you. You see, because that's what eventually what the Lord does. When you're constantly in sin, the Lord hides his face from you. You see, the Lord don't want to deal with you. So he gives you up to what? To a reprobate mind, to do those things which is not convenient. Okay. So his mindset is, okay, the Lord has forgotten him. He's going to hide his face from him. He will never see it. Never see what? He will never see the trap coming. All right. Because we keeping them in that sinful nature. All right. And that's what's going to happen to these 2/3 out here, man. That's what's going to happen to most of this world when that snare is brought upon the world, man. Okay. Because they live in the flesh. All right. They're not going to see that the microchip, right, is a fleshly carnal device that's being used to capture your soul, man. Okay? Because they already love living in sin. They already love living in the flesh. But see, us, all right, we're not ignorant to Satan's devices, man. So by not being ignorant to Satan's devices, right, means to what? That we walk in the spirit and we only mind the things of the spirit. That's why it's going to sit on us in a certain manner like, oh, hell no, this nigga doing wickedly. I ain't falling into that. You see, that's the eye salve that the Lord has given us, man. You see, and this is what you got to pray for. All right, that you continually walk in the spirit. All right, and that when the time of the hour temptation comes, right? Let's grab that. Revelations 3:10. Right, you are able to be saved through the spirit, man. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. All right, to keep the word. All right, let's grab that real quick in the NLT. All right, that, yeah. Put some water in that, please.
Is that soup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me grab that. This is Revelations 3:10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. All right, let's grab this word keep, right? Let's just see what it says. I understand these scriptures. Most of us understand these scriptures, man, but there's always new people coming in. All right, because thou hast kept, all right, this word kept means to attend to carefully, take care of, right? So we have to attend to this word, right, without distraction. We have to be circumspect, right? Redeeming the times because the days are evil. Okay, we have to attend carefully to the Lord. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, is seeking whom he may devour. You see, it says to guard. All right, you have to guard and keep this truth. Guard it with all your soul. All right, to keep one in state in which he is. You see, so you know that there's sin out there, and you know that there's always temptation. So when you're led by the Spirit, all right, you are kept in that spiritual state of mind, okay? But the moment that you're led by sin, all right, you become enticed, right? Let's grab that real quick. And James, this is James, 1 second, Slovakia. This is James 1 and where's that? 14. But every man is tempted, all right, when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. You see? So you have to make sure that you're not enticed by the lust of things, man. You see? By the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh. You see? The Lord said, refrain from thy appetites, man. So things that look good are not really what they seem. You see? Okay? So let's go back to, all right, that word, all right, kept, which goes into tereo, right? And it says to keep one in the state in which he is, to observe, okay? We have to constantly observe through the Spirit. Examine yourselves, right? That you're not walking in the flesh, because then you become a reprobate mind, all right? To reserve, to undergo something, okay? And you got Strong's definition here. It says to guard from loss or injury properly by keeping the eye upon and thus differing from. Yeah, you got to keep your eye upon the prize, all right, and not stray from it. All right. Keep your eye on the word of the Lord. Keep your eye on this damn devil. All right, because this devil is what? Cunning. All right. It says, damn, this got some heavy shit in here. It got which implies a fortress or full of military lines of apparatus, all right, to fulfill a command, by implication, to detain. That's the point on that, as a matter of fact, right? I don't want to get too lost in these words. Hold on real quick. All right, yeah, that's good. So we got thou has kept the word, all right, which we know this word logos goes into what? It goes into this word, this truth, all right, of the moral precepts given by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because through that precepts you get understanding. Okay. It says doctrine, teaching, a continuous speaking discourse, instruction. You see, the Lord instructed you, right, to do certain things. So you have to make sure that you continue to follow in that, man. Okay. The personal wisdom and power in the union with Yahweh. Okay. His minister in creation and government of the universe. All right. So basically going into this word. All right. And let's just grab the word of my patience. Okay. Patience goes into what? Steadfastness, consistency. Okay. The endurance. Those that endure, the same shall be saved. You see, you have to stay, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to have discipline. You see, you have to have discipline that you don't fall into that temptation of that man's image, man. All right. Because you're gonna be put in a predicament for your life. You know, you're gonna starve. You're not gonna you're gonna thirst. Okay. You're gonna feel funny and different because you're left out from the society. Because that's what this devil said. If you don't take on his image, right, you're gonna be left out of society. Okay. So these are things that are important, man, to stay preyed upon, stay preyed up upon. All right. It says a patient, enduring, sustaining. All right. The Lord said, cast thy burdens upon the Lord and he shall sustain thee. You see, this is why we should not want. All right. We shouldn't want anything that this devil has. All right. For us. All right. It says in the NLT, in Salakia, in the NT, the New Testament, the characteristics of a man who is not swerved from his deliberate purpose. Woo! You see? So because you have kept the word of my patience and you haven't swerved from the truth, you see, your purpose was to stay here, to believe every word and stand strong, steadfast and unmovable. Okay. As long as you continue in that path, it says, who is not swerved from his deliberate purpose and his loyalty to faith and petty by even the greatest trials and sufferings. You see, we're gonna go through hella trials and sufferings, man, when this MOTB is made mandatory. You see, but as long as you don't swerve from that deliberate purpose, right, and your loyalty shows that you are faithful to the Lord, you're gonna be saved, man. Just like the Lord said. Okay, he said what? Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the whole earth. You see, and that snare, all right, is going to end up taking a lot of people, man, because they live in the flesh. All right, let me grab this and I'll pretty much end it through that. This is Luke. Okay, and Lord willing, is making sense what I'm trying to say. All right, through the Spirit. This is Luke 21 and 34. It says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life. And so that day come upon you unawares, you see. So when you're constantly caught up with the cares of this life, means that you're caught up in what? In the fleshly mentality, man. And carnal mindset gives you what? Carnal results. That carnal result is going to be you lining up for that chip, man. You see? And eventually it's going to be what? Death for you. Okay? Let's, as a matter of fact, real quick, before I go back to that. All right? This is Revelations 14 and 9. And it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast or his image and receive his mark in their forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. You see? So by you taking on this image, all right, of the flesh, okay, taking on this fleshly carnal mark, right? You're gonna have to drink the wine and wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, so let's go back to Luke 21, right? It says 34, and take heed to yourselves that lest at any time your hearts, meaning what? Your lab, your mind, be overcharged with surfeiting. Okay, what's this word surfeiting? Real quick. Surfeiting goes into, all right, surfeiting goes into cryopale. Cryopale. It says the giddiness and headache caused by drinking to excess, right? To wine, to drinking wine to excess, all right? Drinking too much, okay? You know, a lot of these people, not only are they constantly drinking their lives away and sorrow away, all right, they're also caught up in wine of philosophies, man. Okay. It says to seize, carry off by force. Yeah, by doing too much drinking, all right, and caught up in too much of the ways of this philosophies in this world, right? You get carried away, all right? You're going to be taken by force, all right, by Esau to be able to what? Bow down to his image, all right? Because that sin has a stronghold on you, so it carries you off by force. You're enticed already by it. So by being enticed, it's going to draw you in that much easier, man. Okay. And if you go into that word overcharged, all right, don't be overcharged, meaning what? All right. Let's see what it says. Severe, stern, violent, cruel, unsparing. All right. Heavy in weight. I mean, it's not really saying much that I want. All right. But heavy in weight, meaning that you're constantly, you're so weighed down. As a matter of fact, it says to weigh down. So you're constantly weighed down by that fleshly mentality. You're weighed down by that flesh, okay, by that sin, whatever sin it is that has a hold of you, all right, it's weighing you down, okay? And the Lord said, let not your sins weigh you down, okay? It says, and lest at any time you be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, okay? And so that day come upon you unawares, for as a snare shall it come on all of them that dwell on the face of the whole earth, showing you that's going to be a global thing. Okay. Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. You see? So you want to hope that you're able to be worthy to escape these things. All right. And how do you do that? By doing the works of the Lord, man. All right. Showing that you walk in the spirit and not in the flesh. Okay. So when that time comes, you're presented as a sheep that's without spot or blemish. All right. You want to be what? Blameless before the eyes of the Lord. We're not perfect. All right. But you're going to walk as to the best of perfection as you can in the sight of the Lord, man. Okay. By doing the righteous thing. And everything you do, you have to have wisdom and righteousness meet you in your thoughts. You know, they got that saying in the world, what would JC do? Well, what would Yahushua do, man? It's how you have to think of these things. All right. So again, man, make sure that we walk at all times in the spirit and not in the flesh. All right. Because the flesh is just going to bring you that carnal result of death. All right. So Lord willing, you were edified. With that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, call Haloi and La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Bachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith and doing as good soldiers of Yahushua. All right. And to Water Brother, appreciate it. Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, Barakatah. To you and your households, to both of you brothers. To Water for the scriptures and tuning in, brother. And, you know, hey, keep pushing this word, man. We almost up out of here as always. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, Barakatah.